My name is Alyssa and I love to read, but over the years I've accumulated a lot of books, 260 to be exact, and now I'm left feeling overwhelmed. So I've decided to embark on a project where I read through my books and try to get my to-be-read list down to nothing. I'm calling this project TBR Zero.
Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa, I read, and welcome to another reading vlog. I'm sure you're aware from the intro that I've been working through my TBR. My TBR has gone out of control. I have so many books to read through, and I was working on my entire series section. I have 3 different sections that I've divided my TBR into. I have entire series, standalones, and incomplete series. And I am focusing on entire series. I have not abandoned that. But since it's Christmas time, I really want to read some of my Christmas books. I don't have a ton, but I have some, and this is the time to read them, right? So the books I'm reading in this vlog are standalone, so I'm kind of changing the rules a bit for this one vlog. But I have some Christmas books here that I really want to get to, and I know this is the time to do it, so we're going to do it. So I have 3 books here that I am really excited to get to. I don't know a ton about them, but we're gonna get to them. So I have A Wedding in December by Sarah Morgan. I think it's about a wedding in December. I think it's a romance. I think there might be like 2 romances in here. And I have heard good things about it, I think, last Christmas season. So this is one of them. The next one I got from the publishers, and I've been seeing it around, which is super exciting, which is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I was super excited because she's a Canadian author, and I like seeing a Canadian author getting a bunch of buzz. So this is already out, and it kind of reminds me of The Christmas Switch, or just The Switch, with Vanessa Hudgens on Netflix, except here it's like twins and they switch. And I think one is a baker and one is in TV, and they fall in love in the process with different people from each other's lives, and I'm super excited about that. Sounds super cute. I can't wait to get to it. And then the last one, I must confess, isn't super Christmassy, but it is The Good Luck Charm by Helena Hunting, and I chose this one because the hero, he's a hockey player. So, you know, hockey, Christmas, you play hockey at Christmas, come on, everyone does. You go skating, things like that. So I'm kind of bending the rules again for this one, but this is the closest thing I could find to a Christmassy book on my bookshelves. I did not want to have to go out and find another Christmas book. I just wanted to read something from my bookshelves, so I decided to do this one. I think it's a second chance romance, and he's a famous hockey player. I don't know, I think he's hurt her in the past, but he's back in her life, and maybe he's doing it deviously because she was always kind of his luck charm when it comes to his playing. You know, he always did well when they were together, something like that. So I'm interested to get to this one. I don't know how I feel about second chance romance, but you know what? Let's give it a go. So this is my TBR for this Christmas reading vlog. I hope you don't mind coming with me in this reading journey. I'm super excited to get to some Christmas romances. I've been craving romances, so I think this is the perfect time to do it. I must confess, I'm not feeling the best, but I feel like I need to inform you that I've been making my way through The Holiday Swap, and I'm really liking it. It's great. So this one, we follow 2 twins. They're both pastry chefs. They're both bakers. So one lives in LA, I think Hollywood area, and she works on a baking competition show, and she's like the host, she's like the judge. She co-hosts with another judge who has been her rival like since cooking school or baking school, and he's been constantly undermining her. Her sister lives in their hometown just north of Hollywood, in a small town that's very like Stars Hollow-esque feel, and she runs the bakery that has been in their family forever. So one day, the sister, her name's Charlie, who is on TV, she gets in an accident, she hits her head, and she loses her taste and her smell. So she's freaking out because she desperately wants to keep her position on the show because there's an opportunity afterwards that she's kind of in competition with the other co-host. So she asks her sister to switch places because she is just as talented as her sister. So she should be able to handle the judging. So they switch places, and even though she's concussed, she's decided to run the bakery while she's gone. And there is 2 romances in here for each of the sisters, and I really like it. One is a firefighter, the other one is like not quite a doctor, I think like medical practitioner or assistant or something like that. And I'm really liking it a lot. It's super cute. It is Christmassy, but not. Like, they're not doing like Christmassy things except for maybe baking. But I like the TV aspect. I like that setting, and I like the, obviously, bakery setting as well. And I like the small town feel, and I like the Hollywood feel. Like, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. So, and the romances have already started. I'm basically halfway through, and I can't wait to finish this because it's so good. I definitely recommend it. So I was wrong. It's not one author, but it's 2 authors who wrote this, but they're both Canadian, so I feel okay being excited about that. Their pen name as a couple of writers is Maggie Knox. Their actual author names are Karma Brown and Marissa Stapley, and they've written other books as well, so I'm curious to check those ones out. But I'm not going to be much on camera because I'm like feeling awful, but I'm going to keep reading this and get back to you. Okay, so it's been a hot minute. It's been several days because I was so sick. I was so sick that I just couldn't read. And since I wasn't reading for a few days, it was kind of hard to like get back in the game of reading. But I'm here, I'm doing it. So I'm in the middle of the holiday swap, as we know, and I read a little bit more today, and I'm gonna keep reading. I'm hoping to finish. I'm scared to just say it aloud, but I'm on page 203, and it's still going great. But the reason why I wanted to film is because oh my goodness. Penguin Random House sent me a huge box, so I'm super excited to see what's in here. I think I know what it is, so don't get too excited because obviously it's going to be books, but it may not be fiction. We'll see. Yeah, I was right, but I'm still really excited, and I'm excited to post these on my Instagram, so oh my goodness, they're beautiful. They sent me 3 cookbooks. I'm so excited. I love cooking, and cookbooks are like catnip for me. Big Little Recipes by Food 52, which looks amazing. I love it, and it just looks delicious. Seems like they have nice, beautiful images, which I always love. I'm not a huge fan when there isn't images. Sorry, people are texting me. I like knowing what I should be aiming for. So Big Little Recipes. They have salad bowls to dive into, pastas, grains, bready things, meats and fishes, vegetables that aren't sides, sweet stuff to start or end the day. So this is lovely. I also have, look at this cookbook, Cooking at Home by David Chang and Priya Krishna, which is funny because I'm reading a character named Priya. So Cooking at Home, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying About Recipes and Love My Microwave. That's super cool, and it's just so colorful. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. Very different, but there's some images in here too. They look so good. Oh my goodness. Now I'm like getting hungry. This looks so exciting. So, wow. And then, oh, I'm excited about this. Claudia Rodden's Mediterranean. I love Mediterranean food. We have like Greek night pretty often in our house. We do it kind of like the cheating way. But, oh my goodness, that's just beautiful. That's not even to do with food. It would be super cool to learn to make some Mediterranean food. This is just gorgeous. So excited. So thank you, Penguin Random House, for sending these my way. I'm so excited. I might have to try some new recipes. I'm really excited. I have some updates for you. It's been many days later. Life has just been too crazy. But I finished the holiday swap and I really liked this a lot. It was a lot of fun. So happy to have finished this, and I do recommend it. It's so Christmassy. I loved almost every single second of it. I have some criticisms, but not many. I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. I loved the small town vibes. I loved all the baking. There's tons of baking in here, which is a lot of fun, and I liked the Hollywood feel as well, and I liked how it was a baking show. I love all that kind of stuff. It was just really good, and I liked both of the sisters, and I felt like they were distinguished enough, like their characters. They had some differences. One criticism is that their names were so similar that I was constantly getting confused sometimes. Like, their names were Cass and Charlie, and I kind of wish they had like different names, a little bit like start with a different letter, you know, like, I don't know. I was constantly getting confused, especially since they were like switching places and trying to act like the other person, and so I was getting confused that way. And then the ending, there was kind of like an epilogue, I guess you can say. That's what I mean. The epilogue, not the ending, but the epilogue, or the last chapter, was really like sickly sweet, like too much. It was too much. It was they really went for it when it came to the sweetness factor, or like happily ever after factor. It was just a tad too much. But besides that, I really enjoyed myself reading this. It reads very much like a Hallmark movie. It's super clean, closed door romances, but I didn't mind that. I really enjoyed it. So I'm giving this 4.5 stars, but that's basically a 5-star because I was obsessed. I liked both romantic leads. I think I like McGill. I think that's how you said his name. A little bit better. The physician assistant, I really liked him. He was a lot of fun. And not only was there baking, but they went to like fine dining restaurants sometimes, and I really liked that. So since I'm done that, I did start the Good Luck Charm, and I'm like almost halfway through, and I'm really enjoying this as well. So this one we follow Ethan and Lila, I think that's her name. It's a second chance romance. He is in the NHL. He got drafted to close to his hometown. His hometown is like a small town basically in Minnesota. So he got drafted to the Minnesota team. I don't know what team that is, but he got drafted, and it's looking like his career is not going great. He hasn't been doing great in his career, and he's really afraid that this may be his last year and that Minnesota may not renew him. There's all that drama. Plus, in the middle of like moving back home, his father goes through a stroke. And so there's some like, I don't want to say darker topics, but there's some like serious themes in here. Ethan and Lila, they dated in high school, and they were like head over heels in love with each other. His family was kind of like a second family for her. Her father walked out on her and her family, and she is the youngest of several kids. I think it might be like a family of 6 or 7, and she's the youngest, so the majority of her siblings are a lot older than her, so she isn't really close to anyone except for Carmen, her sister, who is just a few years older than her. Her mother moved away, so she's kind of like all on her own in this small town except for her sister. And over the years, even though her and Ethan were not dating anymore, she's always been super close to his parents, and they've been a big support for her. And she's divorced, she's a divorcee. And just recently, she married a long time, like she was married for I think like 6 years or something. It was almost like after she broke it off with Ethan, a couple years later she got married, and so she is going through a lot. The divorce is fairly recent, plus Ethan's back, plus Ethan's dad had the stroke. So Lila specifically is going through a lot. Obviously Ethan is too. With their relationship previously, he broke things off really badly and she didn't see it coming. So she's very hurt and angry. I think one criticism I have is that for some reason I didn't quite understand why she was like so angry. Obviously he ended things badly, but it's been so long. I understand her hesitancy in going into this relationship and her having, she clearly has like issues with men in her life because her father walked out on her and her family, and then Ethan kind of abandoned her and things like that. But I don't know. So I think at some points I'm like, can you like chill? Like, don't be so angry. I just was more surprised that she would still be so angry after so many years. But I'm still really, really liking it. He's like so in love with her, and so I really enjoy reading that. How he's just like heartsick over her. So I'm really enjoying that, and there's like plenty of groveling, I feel like, to kind of mend this relationship. And so it's about him basically trying to court her and them trying to see if things can work. So I am actually really, really enjoying it. There's been no ice time yet, so I don't know if there will be. I kind of hope there is. Like, the author's Canadian, so I would figure she would know how to write that kind of stuff. Even though I am Canadian, I don't really watch hockey, and I don't know much about hockey, to be honest, but I still like reading about it. I think it's fun. I like sports romances. I didn't know that. I've also decided to pick up an audiobook because I've been really feeling like I need something so I can like putter around the house. So I did pick up one. It's not a Christmas romance. It's not a Christmas book at all, so that kind of sucks, but this is like the only thing I can think of from my bookshelves that it is remotely adjacent to Christmas or winter or anything, and that is Witchwood by Mafi. This is a middle grade story, and it's set in a village that like thrives in the winter, and I'm really intrigued. I've only listened like 20 minutes, but I'm so interested, and it kind of has darker themes, which is one of my favorite things in middle grade, is when there's like darker themes woven throughout. But this girl, she lives on her own. She lives in this magical village. She lives in a castle, and her job is to clean bodies that have been deceased and like help them move on to the afterlife. And she's left on her own because her family like her mother died, and then her father, after her mother's death, kind of like lost it. I think he's like stuck in the center of the city or something. Like it was strange. I'm not sure if I understood that part correctly, but his mind just like kind of went out, and so he's in the center of town, in like the city center or something, and he's just staying there. He's waiting for something. I probably should reread that section to see if I understand that. But she's basically on her own, and she is magically obligated, because it's in her, like, this magical ability has been passed down from generation to generation, where she is legally she's obligated to wash the bodies of the deceased. I think it's almost like in her being, like, she can't resist not doing so. And the thing that's interesting about her, this town that loves winter so much, in this season she hates it for some reason, and the ghost of her mother bothers her, and this castle is really interesting and strange, but I love it. And every once in a while there's kind of like prose where the narrator kind of talks at you a bit, which I always enjoy in a children's novel or story. So it's really interesting. I'm liking it so far. So that's gonna be my audiobook for right now. And I technically did start a little bit of A Wedding in December. I read like 10 pages. I got it on ebook, so if I have a few minutes when I'm out and about, I can read a few pages of that. So, but I'll probably focus on that book when I'm done The Good Luck Charm. But I'm really liking this. I don't know, I feel like people didn't like this, but I don't know why. I really like it. So yes, that's my update. So I'm happy to announce that I have finally finished The Good Luck Charm by Helena Hunting. Yeah, I really, really liked this a lot, and I think I was a little surprised that I liked it so much, because it kind of has lower ratings. It has like a 3.5 something on Goodreads, and I had a little bit of issues with it, but overall I really, really liked it. I just loved the relationship, and I just loved how much they were kind of obsessed with each other, which is not overly healthy, but I did like reading about that, and that was kind of part of their dynamic, and part of the main conflict was how they related to each other. So I liked how it was a little different when it comes to the final conflict. It was more figuring out how they should properly relate to each other. I did like the hockey elements. I wish there was more like ice time. There wasn't really much. We didn't like read about him playing very much. A little bit near the end, but like I don't know if I would even count that as reading about him playing. It was more about how his life as a hockey player affected their relationship. But I just loved how he was like so in love with her and so obsessed with her. I don't read a lot of second chance romances, so it was refreshing to see that I liked it. And I really like her writing, and I'm really excited to read more books from Helena Hunting. So I enjoyed that. I liked reading about what's her name, Lila, about her job. Like, she's a nurse, and I like seeing that aspect of her life. There was some drama near the end, not even relating to the relationship, just about Lila. So this is a lot more hard-hitting, which I also like because it brought more dynamic to the story. So there's all the issues about Ethan's father having a stroke, and then Lila's father walked away from her when she was young, her and her family, and so she does have a lot of like daddy issues, I guess you can say, that do affect how she relates to Ethan and how she feels about being abandoned and things like that. A storyline about her father is in here as well, so it is more hard-hitting that way. The things I had problems with was actually more in relation to Lila herself. I found her frustrating sometimes because she, for one thing, was just like so angry with Ethan at the very beginning, and I understand it, and like she explains why she is like that, but I didn't like it. I just thought she was way too angry, and I thought that she should have been kind of over it a little bit. It's been like 8 years. I understand why she was super angry, or just even a little bit angry, but like she was like overly rude to Ethan in a lot of ways. And then I found Lila frustrating because she wouldn't set up boundaries between her and Ethan, and she was just constantly giving in to Ethan, and that was part of the storyline. So like I understand why she was doing it, or why she was struggling with it, and I understand that it was part of the story, but it was really frustrating, and I felt like it was carrying on too much, and she just like wouldn't say no, and it was affecting areas of her life. So I did find that frustrating. So because of those reasons, which I feel like aren't like great reasons to knock it down, but I did find it really frustrating and hard to read sometimes. So I am giving this 4 stars, but I did really like them as a couple a lot, and I'm really excited to read more from this author, and I'm excited to read more like hockey romances. Like, they're a lot of fun. So this is steamy at some points, but like not too much, which is kind of the right balance for me. I don't mind it happening sometimes, but it's not the entire book. The story is more about the relationship, and not just that, but like stuff happening in Lila's life that brought more dynamic to the story. And yeah, and this takes place over like an entire year. I do definitely recommend this if you're looking for like a hockey romance. This is not Christmassy at all. They barely even talk about Christmas in here. So yeah, it was a bit of a stretch, but since he's a hockey player, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of Christmassy, right? So I will be moving on to A Wedding in December. I started reading this a while back. I only read like half a chapter. So I'll be moving on to this, and I'm excited to give this a try. Oh, I should also mention, so I was listening to Witchwood on audiobook. I read at least 50 pages, and I'm not feeling it. I really am not, and I'm really sorry and sad to say that. I was intrigued at first, and I really liked the world that the author was setting up, and I liked I don't know, I was like really interested in her character and how she was living and what her life was looking like and her job of washing bodies. I found intriguing, but then two characters got introduced and the story really changed. I grew to learn that I didn't really like our main character, Laylee. She is just so angry, and I get it and I understand that's part of her probably story arc, is she needs to start out really angry and then she learns to soften and learn to let people in and things like that. But I just was not here for it, to be honest. And I just kind of lost interest. I don't care. That's kind of where I'm feeling and where I left off. I don't really care, so I kind of just don't want to read it. So sadly, I won't be reading Witchwood or Furthermore. For me to be really interested in a middle grade, I have to be completely charmed. When I really like a middle grade, I find the story endearing and charming and just kind of a lovable feeling. And I was feeling that at first. I was feeling really charmed, and then the story took a turn and I just lost the charm for me. So yeah, I just not feeling it. It was leaning at like a 3-star, and I'm just like, I'm not in the mood to read a 3-star book. So it could be very possibly because I'm listening to it on audiobook, but I think learning that I'm just not interested is good enough of a reason for me to not read these books. So it's official. I'm DNFing Witchwood, and I just won't be picking up Furthermore. So I think it's time to update about a wedding in December. I finally have the chance to focus on this because it's been taking me a long time to read these Christmas books, but I'm more than halfway through. I'm really hoping to finish it today. That's kind of my goal. I'm on page 264, so I have like 100 pages left, and I'm really enjoying this. This is really good. Sorry if you hear banging. My daughter's at home. She's doing gym right now, I think, for online learning. But so this reads more like a woman's fiction. It is technically a romance, or romances, multiple ones, but it reads more like a woman's fiction. So know that going in. We're following 3 different perspectives, and we're following the daughter who's getting married, her sister, and their mother. And they're all going through stuff. There's all things that are happening to them. They're all at different stages of their lives, and they're all struggling with different things. I would say this leans more towards like the mother and maybe the sister, and then we're getting some perspectives from the sister who's getting married. But the mother, she has always, her life has been dedicated to her daughters, and she like did work and things like that, but her focus has always been the 2 girls. And the younger daughter who's getting married, she suffered from asthma attacks, so her life has been like focused a lot on her daughters. And now that her daughters are gone, she's kind of reevaluating her life. She's in the middle of the divorce with their father, and it's like a good divorce, I guess you can say. Like, they are really good friends, but they've just kind of drifted away, and their relationship is part of it. Like, the father's in here. They are going to Colorado for this wedding because their daughter is in America, and that's where she's met her partner who she wants to marry. They're originally from the UK, Oxford specifically. It's kind of like a second chance romance, actually, or a marriage in trouble between the mother and the husband. We only get the mother's perspective, but I don't know, sympathize and kind of relate to the mother because she's kind of like in an empty nest kind of situation, and she doesn't really know. She kind of knows what she wants to do with her life, but not really. And the things with the divorce, like, she's starting to have feelings, but, you know, do they actually want to try again? I always thought like them getting divorced was kind of like strange because they were so just like, I don't know, really good friends, that it seemed kind of odd that they would decide to kind of like live separately. But I guess that's part of their journey, and yeah, it's interesting. So that's her perspective. And then the daughter who is not getting married, the sister, she is a doctor, and It's kind of, I don't want to say mystery, but like you could tell that something has happened with her work or something that happened at her work. She is an ER doctor, and something traumatic has happened. She's always kind of taking care of everyone. She is like a perfectionist, and her sister, who's younger, she's like 10 years younger, so she's always been kind of like a maternal figure for her younger sister, and she's always like tried to not be a problem to your parents and things like that. And she meets someone at this wedding, and there's a bit of like a hate to love kind of situation that happens. So there was one chapter I really loved reading, which was a lot of fun. Her journey is kind of like learning to lean on other people and not just on herself, and getting over this trauma. And then the third sister, I'm not really even sure I would call it a romance because she's getting married, but she's like having doubts about her getting married so quick. She's like very flighty a bit. She kind of goes from thing to thing. Like she tries something out, and if it doesn't work, she tries something else out. And the way that her sister views it is that she's been like that with men as well. And so she's wondering if she's jumping too fast into this marriage because they've only dated a few months and they're getting married really fast. So I think what she's dealing with is, for one thing, she's upset with her sister because her sister has come to try and stop this wedding to happen. And she's like interrogating the fiance and things like that. But also she's mad at her sister for kind of putting doubts in her mind, and I'm really liking it a lot. But you have to like women's fiction and drama. Like if you're looking for a romance, like this is a romance, but not really. It's more about the family and how they relate to each other and kind of figuring out their own issues. But it's good. I really am enjoying it. I can't wait to finish it because, I don't know, I'm enjoying my time. It's not like a 5-star, but like it's really good, and I can tell why people like this one. So I'm gonna finish this one hopefully and then close out this vlog. I'm very happy to say, I'm gonna take those off so I don't get a glare, that I'm finally done a wedding in December. I've been feeling like this reading vlog has taken forever. Yeah, so sorry that a vlog hasn't come up in a long time. I finally finished it. I made sure to sit down and finish it yesterday, and unfortunately I'm giving it like 3.5 stars. It was still really good, and objectively I can see a lot of people really enjoying this. It's not the usual style that I like when it comes to romance, because it is still a romance, but it leans more women's fiction, family drama. Plus there was kind of like 2 to 3 romances. I would almost declare it like 2 romances. I feel like the couple that are getting married, almost not quite a romance because they were already together, and the focus was mostly on the women and the issues they're struggling with, and you know, self-discovery and like things like that, and then family drama, how they related to each other and the issues that they were struggling with when it comes to communication within the family, and like just different things like that. It leaned more that way, and I know a lot of people like that kind of story, and so I do recommend it for those who really like family dramas and women's fiction and stories about women. I did like the romances. They were nice, you know, they were good. You know, there are some explicit scenes in here which I wasn't expecting, but not tons or anything. So I think the thing that really dropped it down for me was the family drama. I felt like it was kind of carrying on, and I felt like too much monologues in a way. There was a situation where they needed to apologize, but I felt like I wished the couple kind of solved their own problems and someone didn't feel like they had to interfere or convince someone that they needed to stay together. I wasn't a big fan of that, so I don't know. So I'm giving it 3.5 stars. It was still really good, and I do recommend it, but it was good. Like 3.5 stars is not a bad rating. Like, I'm gonna round it up to 4 stars on Goodreads. So this is finally the end of this reading vlog. It took me forever to read these books. It's nothing wrong with these books, it's just life got really in the way for the past couple weeks. I found it really challenging to find time to read, and just a lot was going on in my life. So nothing against these books, because, you know, I found some really good successes here. So just to wrap up, I finished The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I do highly recommend this. I gave this 4.5 stars, rounding it up to 5 stars on Goodreads. I really, really loved it. And then next I read The Good Luck Charm by Helena. I'm really excited to have found two new authors, but I'm really excited about Helena. I think I'm gonna like all her books, and this was a really good solid 4-star rating. And then finally I finished with A Wedding in December by Sarah Morgan. I might read more Sarah Morgan. She's a British author, and I usually really like chick lit or women's fiction that is set in the UK. So I might pick up more of her things, but I don't know. I have to think about it.
I should also mention that I DNF'd Witchwood, and that means I will not pick up furthermore. So at the beginning of this reading project, I began with 258 books. At the beginning of this vlog, I had 253 books left to read. In this vlog, I read 3 of them. One of them I did not finish, and the other I will not pick up. And so now I'm left with 248 books.
That's the end of this reading vlog. If you've read any of these books before, please comment down below. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you've read any of these authors before, let me know. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you have any Christmas recommendations you'd like to share, please leave them down below. I'm sure they'll be really helpful for other viewers and myself. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If you've not done so, you can follow me on Goodreads and Instagram. And you know what? I want you to keep reading. Bye.